Because some of your clients going to say they don't know nobody. But who are all these people y'all tagged in this picture, smiling, holding liquor and kissing, whatever the case you're doing there? Now, if you want to change your life, this is what I'm selling my team on. Some of them have bought into it. Some of them have not. Some of them have stepped in. But hey, go and have some success so we can bring it back here and tell them it works. When I was struggling, making 60, 70 grand a year, and I had some life issues hit, my son needed some special education needs. I had to get him into private school that cost 18 grand. That may not be a big deal on 60, 70 grand in Primerica with expenses, that is. I said, let's just see what happens if I do big time prospecting. And then after that, that's when, what's his name? Ian Pruckner came up with 1,000 names. But at first I just said 500. So let's get 500 names and put them on a list, or go get 500 names. He said 1,000 names in seven days. See, I'm an engineer by trade. John Lennon was too charismatic. I wasn't going full time till I understood the quantitative side of this business. And the first person to teach me quantitation, I didn't know him personally, but I read his book, was Bob Safford with the 116-8531 formula. But then 1,000 names in 7 days. See, we got to operate on probability versus hope. And too many people in Primerica are hopeful and not working on probability. Rick Williams, when he was up running the company, he worked on probability. He said, man as an individual is unpredictable. Man, the masses is. So is our prospecting that client base. Then you can do staff meeting presentations. Don't be more than 10 minutes. They ain't gonna be paying attention that long. Try to be the first person on the agenda. We can't do pay for play, but they actually bring food. Just do it. Don't be a cheap butt. And that way, you can start developing some relationships and make some money. So, another thing to get things moving. See, Hector Marx says about the questions you ask. Now, y'all got some sophisticated people on this phone, but all that stuff y'all went over initially, I don't know none of that stuff. And most of my clients don't ask it. If they do, they're just trying to sound intelligent to sort of measure up to me, but I keep it simple. First thing is this. These are questions you ask people across the kitchen table while you're out and about. This is how you can gather names. Has anyone talked to you about saving your first $1 million for retirement? That's a punch in the stomach. No, they haven't. Then you exchange information, get their number. I specialize in helping K-12 educators. If I'm talking to a doctor, I specialize in helping medical professionals. If I'm talking to a lawyer, I specialize in helping legal people save $250,000 to $1 million for retirement. Are you aware that the state will only pay you half your salary if you work 30 years? What if we can help you make up the other half? Man, that sounds good. Great. Let's exchange numbers. Would you like to live off half of what you're making or 100% of what you made before you retired? What if we can help you get a raise every year in retirement so you're not on a fixed income in retirement? Let's see. Sell prospects on service and fee savings when going from variable to mutual funds. Sell on gaining more money with the same money when moving from fixed to variable or variable to mutual funds. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Show them a financial calculator comparison or hypo from Morningstar. And this is how you can sum it up. Just like we do Bank A, Bank B on the yellow pad. I know we got all these sophisticated F&As and all that to make us look pretty, sound good. But most people don't even comprehend that stuff. They act like they comprehend it. But this works just as good. So, Mr. Jones, you 30 right now. You got 20,000 in your 403B, saving $200 a month. And this fixed annuity or fixed index annuity, you're going to average 3% or less. But I'll give you 3%. In 35 years, you'll have $205,000. At a 5% withdrawal rate, that's $10,000 a year. You get the same 20 grand, I put it in mutual funds at the same money, nothing more, at 12%. Yes, it's going to fluctuate. Nod your head, sir. It's going to fluctuate. But here's the good news, sir. According to Invesco and what they've done independent research, first of all, next year will be the 100th year since the first mutual fund got started. Congress put the Codes Commission out there to study the market. If you own one stock each of the New York Stock Exchange before the stock market crash in 24, what would have happened? They found out you'd average 9.9, just say 10%. The third oldest one, which started Massachusetts Financial Services, actually invented the first one, which we have access to. The third oldest one started in 1928, but Pioneers averaged 12%. Now, I'm an engineer. We can't say the word guaranteed in this business, but the sun been rising in the east all these years. We pretty much say it's going to rise in the east, right? So we could pretty much say over the long haul, you can average 10 to 12%. despite what's going on in America and in the world. So with that being said, you take the same money, 20 grand, 200 a month at 12%. Now you got 2.5 million at 65. At a 5% withdrawal rate, that's $129,000 a year. Which one you think work better for you? Which one you think work better? Keep it simple. Let them ask the question. And then you just coach them along the way with the CRM and follow up. Rules of engagement. If you're going to work, the ISD, that's what they call them in some states, and other states they call them school systems. Check in with the finance officer, HR, to see what their policy is to approach teachers. The policy will be different for each school system. But with some of these third-party administrators, you don't even have to go into school, and you can do the salary reduction agreement electronically, never even go on the campus, or just Zoom in. Some ISDs leave it up to the principal, so you can only sit in the lounge. Some you can only put in their mailboxes. I'm not doing the lounge no more because a lot of times
I'm gonna fast forward
somebody
this
say
because
$250 a month.
I want to make
Everything
sure
else
that we get to the
is 1% or less, definitely American funds. That's $409,000. Yeah. And send it right back to you, and boom, now you got the documents, print them out, send them to Primerica. Now, if you got an Android, you got to download Adobe Acrobat Reader. This a little bit about half from packs, half from rollovers. We've never done $1 million a month, but we always did 10 to 20 grand in premium. And during the pandemic, before I promoted out my RVPs, was doing 20 by 30, so we got up to 337,000. But now we're rebuilding the base a little bit. But once we do that, and then get the
I'm going to continue to forward it to the recruiting part of it. Okay. So what are you guys getting out of this so far?
As you mentioned before, it's all about asking the questions and simplify. He mentioned also a 10-minute presentation when he sits down with the prospects, and I like the way that he says, like, big time prospecting, just getting 500 to 1,000 names in 7 days, you know, and also to work on probabilities, because many people work on hope, and this is not this is a numeric game. I'm sorry, this is a numeric game. It's not based on hope or good thoughts. I mean, we have the best intentions, but at the end of the day, we have to be aware that numbers will bring, you know, the result that we want. And if we want to make it big, it has to be big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really good. And we're doing pretty good in time. So we'll be able to discuss a lot of these points later. But I tell you, you're gonna get a lot of this as we continue to go with this. The more Vidal more stuff you do, the more you're gonna find.
curious in what you have to say and willing to exchange numbers. And they know the answer to the question already. So remember I was telling you about John Lennon was too charismatic for me. I had to have something more quantitative. So now we do 111-310 like Miguel Illich, but ultimately when I got started, it was about the 116-8531. Remember this: as technology and society speeds up, our prospecting got to speed up too. As technology speeds up, our prospecting has to speed up with it. So it may take more volume. When I got in the business, they ain't had call ID. When I got in the business, I just got a cell phone the day before I got married, a year after I was in the business. Well, 3 or 4 years after I was in the business. Everybody showed up to the meeting because you had to. Then they came up with Zoom. You got more people involved, then people weren't showing up. So we just got to do it. We used to do drive-bys. With Zoom, I just find somebody else. If I'm in the neighborhood, I may do that, but I ain't making a special trip anymore. You know, so as technology speeds up, we got to speed up. So securities has a 75% close ratio on PACs, life insurance 50%, auto insurance 40%, recruits 25%. 1 out of 4 going to join. So don't worry about recruiting. Worry about prospecting and processing. Prospecting and processing, you'll get the proper amount of recruits. New recruits have a warm market. That's the best as far as putting your list. New recruits warm market, client referral market, 3-foot rule, center of influence, seminar market. Center of influence, people not going to do the business, but they can introduce you to other people who can become clients will do the business. Just because we're in a non-traditional business model does not exempt us from doing the things that traditional business people have to do, which is prospect and networking. I had a teacher, a principal I'm working on recruiting. She became a client, but she thought she was going to gum me up with some hard questions. She said, I've been in business like this. What happens after you talk to all your friends and family? I said, you got to prospect and network, just like every other business. What you expect? And looked right back at her. She said, oh, yeah. Look, let's stop being punks in Prime America when it comes to prospecting. There's people out here lying to people and they saying it with authority and people believe it. We got the truth and we tippy toeing. So I was in a small town, North Carolina. When you're in an industrial town, they dressed up, they either the preacher, principal, or the superintendent. There ain't that many white collar jobs. So I was down in this small town and I said, excuse me, sir. Remember I said, ask me the question you already know the answer to. You look sharp. What do you do? I'm the superintendent of the schools. Okay, great. I wanted to provide us with a retirement plan for the school system. I specialize in helping employees get on track to save $100,000 to $1 million for retirement. I have a question for you. Has anybody talked to you about saving your first $1 million for retirement? No, they haven't. Okay, if you're open to hearing how, what number can I reach you at? He said, just call me in my office. Now, the way you overcome objections, especially the secretary, is deal with it up front. Okay, great. Well, I have to go through layers of people to get to you to set an appointment. Look them in the eye. Said, no, just call my secretary and tell her we talk. That's the code word. We talk. Great. I woke up late that day, so I missed that appointment. It was 3 hours away. But we didn't have Zoom back then. This came from Mr. Lennon. Let's just suppose you like this program. You can afford it, and you want it. When will you have the first month's premium available? When will you have the money for your IBA available? When will you have the money for your first pack available? Ask the question. And when people start talking about they need time to think about it, people make decisions around paydays. When they say, I need about 2 weeks to think about it, really? Is that day you get paid? Okay, well, we can do, go ahead and do the application. We just hold it to payday. Fair enough. All right. This came from Joe Ward. Who's handling your life insurance and investments outside their job, if they got it? Now, everybody think they make the best decisions financially, so you have to sort of reverse the questions. So do you have that? Do you have the kind, so they say they got life insurance. Do you have the kind, the good type, that you could build a cash value? Now, we know it's bad, but you got to make it sound good. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, mine builds equity and got funds in it and all that stuff. Okay. If I can give you 2 to 3 times more coverage for half of what you're paying, that would be worth 20 minutes, wouldn't it?
You see how powerful these questions are, guys? Sometimes we just don't know. When somebody say they have insurance, he said, do you have the kind with savings? And we probably would say, oh my God, I really need to look at that. That's not the best. You already put him at a defensive. All we have to do is ask questions, because all we need is the document in our hand. Then we can actually help them, because they're open, because you're going to give them some great ideas. But how many times a day? I remember my friend Lee, he used to tell me that when they started, they used to take the white pages, those times, and call people. And the question was, do you have life insurance? Do you want to buy life insurance? That was a question they would ask people. Do you want to buy life insurance? He said out of 10 people we call, somebody would say yes. And we sold life insurance. So if we actually go every day out there and say, you want life insurance? You want to buy life insurance? You do it enough times, people will buy insurance. It's just, again, questions. And I love the way he's actually putting all this stuff together.
Boom. Has anybody talked to you about saving your first $1 million to $2 million for retirement? Now, you could talk investments without securities license, without talking investments. You got to talk concepts. See, in Prime America, we sell products, we distribute products, but we sell concepts. So, how would you like to pay $42,000 for a $147,000 college education? $42,000 represents the total of the monthly installments over 18 years at 12%. And the $147,000 represents a $100,000 education. 18 years from now will be about $147,000. So you don't go into all those details. You just put the numbers out there. A state college will cost $147,000 when your newborn turns 18. How would you like to pay $47,000 for it? Would you rather pay $223,000? That's the $147 with interest for $147,000 education, or $42,000 for it? Retirement. If I gave you a post-dated check for $1.2 million cash for age 65, would you take it? That's nothing but the old $200 a month at 12% over 35 years used to be on the presentation.
I love that part. If I give you a post-dated check and then just break it, they're going to tell you, yes, all it is saving $200 a month. So you can bring people to do the things they need to do.
Now, $200 a month over 35 years is $84,000. If you gave me a check for $84,000, in turn I gave you a check for $1.3 million, would you take it? Do you know anybody who wants to make some extra money? If you gave me $84,000 over 35 years, in return I gave you $1.3 million, would you say that's a good deal? There's a way to save for retirement and not have to pay any taxes on your money when you take it out. Would you be open to hearing about it? That's a Roth IRA. Everybody can do that. Say that. Would you like to pay taxes on your retirement money when you retire, or not pay any taxes at all? This is what gets people stimulated into talking, the conversation starters, how you exchange numbers. If the state came in as an educator and gave you a 50% pay cut today, would you still keep teaching? Wait for an answer. Then why would you take this at retirement? You're going to wait 30 years to get 50%? They already told you up front. Let's go do something about it. Let's talk about recruiting a little bit. Do you know anyone who wants to become a licensed professional and earn $200 to $750? I need to change that to $1,000 now. For hours worth of work, part-time. Would you like to pay for your child's education on today's prices or tomorrow's prices when they have?
Isn't that powerful? Do you know anyone who wants to become a licensed professional, earn $200 to $750 for hours worth of work part-time? The question is not so much who wouldn't, is do we ask it enough times?
Hi. If you died today, or if your husband died today, because men don't buy life insurance, women buy life insurance and make sure their husbands buy life insurance. Men want investments and opportunities. So that's why it's hard to sell a single man sometimes life insurance, because we think we ain't gonna die. We've been watching the Marvel characters too much. All right. So if you died today, or if your husband died today, do you have enough money to pay your house off, consumer debt, and your child's education? How much would it cost to pay off the house? Get them thinking. Ask the question. How much would it take to pay off your student loans? A state college costs $100,000. How many kids you got? That's $400,000. You mean to tell me your group policy is good enough to handle all that? Would you like to have enough money to pay off the house debt and your kids' education? Most people need $250,000 to $500,000. But here's the key. Got this from Brian Tracy. Whatever you ask them, whatever they answer, you say, great, let's exchange numbers, and I'll give you a call today to set up a time to talk. Name on the list. Now, let's say they try to make you do a presentation when you're prospecting. The purpose of prospecting is get the number, not to do a presentation. So if they ask you, well, how's that, Tommy? How do you do that? I say this. That's exactly what I want to talk to you about. That's why I need to set up a time to talk to you for about 15 minutes. But can you give me a little bit more detail? That's exactly what I want to talk to you about, those details. That's why I need to set up a time to talk to you for a brief 15 minutes. Because you ever see the reporter ask somebody something, they keep saying the same thing till the reporter get the point that I'm not.
How many times has somebody asked? How many times about what do you do? And we just do blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
That's why we don't get appointments, because we want to give everybody all the information. So, all right.
Answer the question. This is the same thing you do here. All right, let's talk about the problem
love this
for America.
part.
It's a book I read called Recruiting Up. We don't do enough recruiting up here. Now, this is not to make fun of nobody. I mean, I was working at Peace Hutton as a student, but I wasn't going to be a lifer there. All right, but you can't recruit low-wage people all the time because you got something called the law of the lid. So you got to recruit some people who got the ability to do some things and got enough credibility to see some people to create explosions. So here's a question you ask somebody who think they got it going on. What's the salary range for your profession? Have you had a pay raise in the last 5 years? What's the chance of you doubling your income in the next 1 to 5 years, which happens in Primerica a lot, without getting into more student loan debt or having to uproot your family and relocate? Now your kid got to make new friends. People do this to survive in America. We got to challenge that. We got to challenge it. If you got laid off today, how long would it take before you exhausted your emergency savings? Wait for an answer. After that, how long would it take before you have to spend your retirement money to make ends meet? During the mortgage meltdown, I met people who went through that. They went from $145,000 to zero. Exhausted emergency funds, exhausted the retirement savings, and they had to start all over again at 45 years old. We mean we can't recruit nobody. It's not our job how to respond. Our job is to take it to them, but make them a client first, in most cases. Are you saying you don't have $124 to invest in yourself to get licensed, or are you saying you don't believe you can be successful and recuperate your $124? Which one is it? How does it feel to be living this long and not have $124 to invest in yourself? So if your child had to have a tooth pulled today and the copay was $120, how would you find it? Is it important for your kids to go to college? Do you like the money saved to pay for this $80,000 expense? Do you have the money to pay for this expense? Would you like your kids to be in $80,000 debt to pay for college? When you look at your employer, do you see unlimited income or glass ceiling? Unlimited opportunities. You got flat tires tonight, would you have to charge them on your credit cards or pay cash for it? Based on these questions, do you recognize you need to do something different to make more money? Are you willing to do something different to make more money? Looking forward, when you think about life, about the lifestyle that you want to live for yourself, and you think about the financial foundation that you want to set up for your children, how much money on a monthly basis do you need to start living that life? Do you have any, what do you want to accomplish in the next 90 days that your job don't pay you enough to do, and so you don't have to go borrow it? If you don't make any changes, what is the month and year? You're going to make 25, 30 grand a month if you don't make any changes. We got to ask people these questions, challenge them. And the best people to talk to is the ones in the middle. And don't get confused with six-figure income. I was just talking to my brother-in-law today up in Jersey about that. When I graduated, my first job offer was $43,000. In Primerica, we got to be careful. We don't think about inflation. When I came to Primerica, they were talking about the ring is a thing. We still talking about the ring is a thing. And it is. I mean, don't make light of anybody's milestone because everybody's getting better, going through changes. But people making six figures now in some of the professions I would have been involved with. But I was paid $43,000 25 years ago if I'd have took the job at 3% inflation. That's almost 100 grand. I mean, let's not be fooled. We talking about getting the ring. Art Williams was selling that 35, 40 years ago. Add 3% inflation, that's $300,000 or $400,000 now. We all broke. $1 million? You a $1 million earner? The move is really 2 or 3 million if you want to be the $1 million that we grew up on in Primerica. Let's not forget about inflation. Let's not make light of milestones, but let's understand we got work to do, teammates. Let's go get it.
Tommy, awesome job, man. Appreciate all your questions.
All right. What'd you guys get out of that? What questions impacted you the most?
How to get them interested in it. I mean, because they want to know, to me, it's how to get them interested in it. And signing up, I mean, like, I guess I should use the same thing, like, hey, just like you have car insurance, home insurance, and all that, why not health insurance? You're not going to always use your home insurance, but when it's needed, it's there. But also to like recruit, like you say, you know, they're asking the same questions, and you mentioned it as well, is like a court reporter. Keeps on asking the same thing. You're not going to answer when you're like, okay, you know what, hold on. Or let's set up an appointment or whatever. It's to get them into, one, agreeing to setting up the appointment. 2, get them interested once they review and see what it is, and then just go from there.
Right.
Because everybody has different questions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. No, that's right. Go ahead. Everybody have different questions. You're right.
Because everybody has different questions. Like, okay, well, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I want it. I don't think I need it. I'm like, okay, I don't think I need it, but I have it. Just like I have, you know, I don't think I need life insurance, but I had it. You know, I'm still paying a policy that my mom, you know, had when I was, what, 15, 16. I mean, it's still there, but I have never, thank God, didn't need to use it.
Yeah, it's just again, that comes with the question because he didn't ask them, do you want to buy life insurance? You need life insurance.
No,
That
yeah.
was not the question. The
Mm-mm.
question was, or one of the question was, if your husband died, passed away tomorrow, would you be able to maintain? It's a
Mhm.
whole different question because people have to get themselves into that state emotionally. Oh shoot, if Tony's not here tomorrow, how am I gonna pay these bills? Very different, right? So yeah, we need life insurance. They said they need life insurance. We don't tell them they need life insurance, right? So that is just the most important. And the other part is like the purpose of the questions or the phone call is
Mm.
not to give a presentation. It's to set a time to get together. You know, people don't like to set appointments, right?
Yeah.
When you set an appointment, that word itself creates anxiety in people. But if it's a
They,
time to get together,
mhm.
sounds like fun.
True.
Words are
So they feel
very
committed.
powerful. Words are very, very powerful, and we need to increase the words we use, especially in this business. Our vocabulary have to change. Like, I never say anybody sign here. When you sign something, you understand that that is like life and death. I'm signing my life away. I need you to authorize this form. Totally different. What are they
Mm-mm.
doing? Signing. Isn't that what they're doing? They're signing something. But
Yeah.
if you tell me I need you to sign this, then it says I have to read all this contract because I need to know what I'm signing. When you say I need you to authorize that I can process the application, is very different than signing something. So words are very, very powerful. You need to choose your words in this business. It's like anything. You know, my mom is one. It's just her way of talking. It's my mom. Mira, nena, tú tienes que hacer esto. Tienes que llamar a tu hermana. Tienes que llamar a tu padre. I don't have to do jack. You hear me? All she wants to say is, can you call your dad? Because he's not answering my call. That's what she's asking, right? But the fact that she said, tú tienes, eso pone un barrier immediately. Like, I don't have to do jack,
Mhm.
right? Like, the people that are not in the training, well, they don't have to be here. That doesn't change me in any way. I got all the information. You all got the information. Your lives are going to be better if you put it to action. I know mine is going to be better. You don't have to do
Mhm.
anything, right? But the fact that we use certain words to trigger things with people. The other thing that I got out of that was, what do you do? How do you do that? You know, explain more. And we say, well, you know, we just help people get out of debt. We put a plan together. We help them retire. That's not the answer. The only reason we answer that question that way is because we're so insecure about what it is that we have to bring to the table that we're not necessarily convicted enough, and we want to change it. And we want to make them feel like, no, be convicted. What we do is right. Do we get people out of there faster? Yes. Is our insurance better than the crash value insurance? Yes. Can we help them invest money and retire financially independent? Yes. So what is it to be insecure about? See, the thing is, we have to convict ourselves. Ian Progner used to say, convince people. Not we convince anybody, but convince people, convince people. Convicted people convict people. because now they want whatever it is that you have. So the fact that when someone asks you, what do you do? Great question. Let's get together and I explain it to you. No, but tell me more. If I could do it right now, but we don't have enough time. We can get together and we can do a Zoom and I explain it to you. It's just that way. What else? Javier or Eva, anything else you guys got out of today?
It's
Bueno,
just
pues,
that,
mira,
it's just asking those questions, you know. Sometimes we try to tell as much as possible to just convince people, as you mentioned, to just sit down with us. And we don't realize that we have to basically make them wanting to sit down with us, like with a curiosity, like, okay, this person knows something that I don't know, or this person may have in hand something that I might need to, achieve my retirement or whatever. I need to sit down with this person. It's like, I think it was this week that we are looking for people that are looking for us in every aspect, not only for our services or product, but also for our opportunity. And for me, it's like when I heard that, I was like, everything is connected. It's all about people wanting to sit down with us. And sometimes we are maybe sometimes like a lion running behind their gazelle, and they are running away from us, and we are running. Like I've been honestly, I've been talking with one of my coworkers. She sits next to me, and every year every day, every week she's working on getting the policy, because I know she has a term policy, but I think it's an increasing um policy, so it will go up eventually. Um and she's like, oh, I'm working on it, I'm getting it. And I was like, dude, you only have to log in into the website and just download the PDF. But I haven't tell her that. I'm about to tell her, like, you don't want to do anything. Just don't say a thing. Let's talk about other stuff. Let's talk about your dog. Let's talk about your whatever, your hobbies. Like, stop talking about the freaking policy. You're wasting my time and my patience, and that is not fair. But at the end of the day, we just go on and run behind them, like, hey, how are you? And sending a message, just let me know if you got the policy, because I would love to help you with it or whatever. Let's find out what you have in place. But she doesn't care, and you know what? I don't care either. Like, that's her problem. But at the end of the day, we get tired and we lose motivation running behind people that just don't want to talk with us. And but also we have to be, I don't want to say wise, but we have
you do.
to manage the situation to adjust that the way that we want to turn out to be.
Right.
So I mean, it's all about the questions.
Yeah. It is interesting. It's what we say, it goes back to, let me see what you have is right. Let me see. Instead of, wouldn't you want to know if what you have is the right thing? Would you want to find out too late?
So it's choosing
And
the
then,
words, basically.
yeah, exactly. Because
Choosing the
at
words,
the
because
end
it's
of the day,
sometimes
it's
like,
their stuff.
yeah, because like what Javier was saying about it, his coworker and all that. I feel sometimes it's like those your extended warranty. They're always calling for your car extended warranty, your car extended warranty. Like, dude, leave me alone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You need to ask people, but look at it as, what would be something that would, it will touch you. Like,
Mhm.
shoot, if my husband passed away, am I going to be able to continue the lifestyle I have? No. Okay. Ask that question. It's a need thing. And emotionally, people need to get involved. Would you like to retire with paying taxes or not paying taxes? Okay, great. I think we need to sit down and talk. Well, how can you do that? Great. Let's just sit down. Let's set a time that we can sit down and talk. That question that he asked about getting half of the money at retirement, people are getting half of their money at retirement. Teachers are going to get half of whatever they were making that they couldn't live on at retirement. It's just how it is. So those are ways to set up packs all the time. If I give you a check for $1 million, if you give me 84,000 and I give you $1 million, $1.5 million, would that be a good trade? Great. Let's talk about it. All it is saving this amount of money for this amount of time. It's just ways to get into people's curiosity. Remember, information don't move people. Curiosity move people. We want to give information. When we're doing the Vidalo Smart, the reason I like it so much is because we're not giving information. They are finding out what their issues are. You know, like I had an appointment. I probably told you, Ravi, but I had an appointment the other Thursday. Thursday, I had an appointment. I was at the office until 8 something. Because I was finishing the stuff, but they left almost at 8 o'clock. They got there at 4. Oh my God, that's a long appointment. They had a lot of questions. And I told them if you have a lot of questions and then we planning on doing this today, give yourself some time. Well, while I'm doing the variable annuity, which we did a VA for $100,000. Even though you said that's a lot of time in the office, I made about $3,100. That's a good payday. If I got disconnected, I wanted to hear this on the Vidal Smart. But does that make sense today that those cards are having?
Sí, o sea, definitivamente, definitivamente. It's all about the questions, Doesn't get any better, it doesn't get any worse. It's just
Cuando hablamos con Eugenio the other day, todo lo que hizo fue questions.
questions, yeah.
Questions. Let me